I'm old enough to remember the time that Lamborghinis scared the shit out of you. 15 years ago, I tried 300 kilometers per hour in a Murcielago SV, and that experience still hasn't left me. It was so scary. By all yardsticks, this should make me poop my pants. 903 bhp, 10,000 RPM redline. Except it can do this. This is the first Lamborghini with drift mode, and that uses the asymmetrical electrified front axle to modulate the attitude of the car and deliver, well, the controllability, the ease of driving, and of course the thrills of a car that can actually drift. Now the engine. This is a brand new V8 designed and built at Santa Agata Bolognese by Lamborghini. L411, that's the code name for this engine. It makes 789 bhp. Now that's around 158 bhp more than the most powerful version of the Huracan that went before it. This is not a naturally aspirated engine. 5.2 V10, the Huracan, the sound made a hair stand on end. This is a twin turbo 4-liter V8, but it does get hybrid assist. Now Lamborghini says that this engine melds the best of the naturally aspirated world as well as the turbocharged world. So in an NA engine, you get that lovely linearity, but at the top end, power begins to taper off. Whereas with a turbo engine, you get that slug of mid-range torque, you surf the torque curve, but there is nothing really at the top. Here, once you cross 7,000 RPM, the revs, it keeps building, the power, it keeps building. In fact, Chief Technical Officer Ruben Moore says that to give it that feed, that engine, they've put in the biggest turbochargers that they could find, and 2 of those. And there is no turbo lag. The reason for that is hybrid assist. So it's got 2 electric motors. At the rear, there is 1 electric motor, and at the front, on this electrified axle, you have 2 axial flux motors. I'm in a screaming yellow Temerario. Of course, these helmets have got ear defenders, so I can't really get the full impact of the sound, but I can tell you this thing is mentally fast. The thing is that because it's the turbocharged engine, because you have the hybrid assist, you can ride and surf the wave of torque. Except this thing also revs up to 10,000 RPM. The thing is, you don't really need to rev it all the way to 10,000 RPM. But when you do rev it to 10,000 RPM, oh my God. The agility, especially through these S's, is staggering. That's the electrified front axle working for you. Each of the axial flux motors makes 148 bhp and 300 Newton meters of torque. 2 of them on the front axle. Together, you get 295 bhp. Now, the benefit of this is obviously traction. Its main rival, the Ferrari 296 GTB, that's only rear-wheel drive. It's a phenomenal car, but if it's wet, well, you're on edge. Here, you get the safety of the E 4-wheel drive, this electrified front axle. You also get around 10 kilometers of pure EV range. But that's not the main target of this hybrid system. The main target is for fun to drive character. And for that, it also gets torque vectoring. All the drifting that you saw, that is courtesy of this electrified front axle. So how does the torque vectoring work? Now, the 2 motors on the front axle are independently used. They can be used to power, to retard, do multiple things. There's a whole bunch of sensors that feeds in an algorithm that decides what the driver wants. And the key thing here is it's a feed forward system. It's a predictive system. So it doesn't react to your inputs. It predicts your inputs, and that way it feels more natural. Unlike in the past where ESP would cut in violently, so you're going sideways, then the car thinks that, okay, no, you're going to kill yourself, then it cuts in and you think that you've made a mistake. It's all a little messy. Here, it predicts what's going to happen, and that makes it feel more natural. Also, because of this electrified front axle, that gives it that agility, the lightness of its feet. It also makes it less cumbersome, less scary, in fact, to drive. The chassis is all new. It moves away from the aluminum and carbon fiber construction of the Huracan to a new aluminum space frame. It has gotten bigger, so now it sits between the Huracan, where it used to be, and the Revuelto. 40 mm more in terms of the wheelbase, 186 mm more in terms of length. There is more headroom as well, easier to get in and out of. Lamborghini says that their customers have grown bigger, taller, as well as wider, and the car has been done to accommodate that. There's an 80% reduction in the seam welds. There's an increase in the torsional rigidity, some 24% increase in torsional rigidity. Obviously, downforce has improved, so around 64% at the rear. The wheels, staggered sizes, 20 inches at the front, 21 inches at the rear. 295 section at the front, 325 at the rear. 410 mm carbon discs at the front, 390 mm at the rear. And of course, with all the regen, the braking obviously gets better. You get that crazy torque vectoring. Now we've got this long right-hander that leads us onto the main straight. And now Stefano is going to let us go. 10,000 RPM, 10,000 up. My God, this is insanely fast. Mega fast. 10,000 RPM in a turbocharged car. I wouldn't have thought possible. This is a flat plane crank V8. Now obviously Lamborghini's next door neighbor also uses flat plane crank V8s. They were the masters at that until they discovered the joys of V6 engines. But those engines rev to what? 8.2 max 8.5 RPM, 8,500. Here, 10,000 RPM in this flat plane crank V8. This is next level. The design, it keeps pace with the Revuelto's theme and also stays true to Lamborghini's spaceship design language. Now, compared to the Huracan, the lines are crisper, cleaner. Obviously, you have hexagons all over, but all these are also functional. So a lot of air vents all over the place to give it that improved downforce. This wild Sesto Elemento style tire cutout, that reduces drag. And from the rear, this looks mega. The result of all the aero efficiency is a 103% increase in rear downforce compared to the Huracan Evo. And that goes up to 158% when you opt for the Alleggerita pack. And Alleggerita, that means she is lightweight in Italian. In Italian, all cars are ladies. And this, Lamborghini says, is the rebellious younger sister to the Revuelto. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And now, time to head back onto track. This 10,000 RPM business is hard on the brakes. Carbon ceramic brakes are standard, massive brakes. Like I said, the way it turns in, then you pick up the throttle, bang it out of the corners, lean on that grip. This agility is something that is astonishing. What Lamborghini have done is they've given it a shit ton of power, but they've also made it playful, agile, that fun to drive character. That's what's coming across. It's not scary, it's not like overwhelming and it's like, oh my God. It's got enough and, what am I saying? It's got epic power, but it's not scaring the bejesus out of you. It's not like you're, this is uncontrollable. Nothing like that. Fast corners. Get through these S's. The way it changes direction. Of course, you have to be a little careful when you get back on the throttle and back on the main straight. 10,000 RPM, baby. beast. Okay, these anchors are also super strong. Super strong brakes. Now the cabin, trademark Lamborghini design, all these fighter jet cues. You still have this flip switch, press the starter button, and unlike in the past, here the car's on. I've started the car, the engine hasn't fired up, the aircon has fired up, and you can get 10 kilometers of pure EV driving. Then when the range drops, that's when the engine fires in. This is the Allegerita, I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, their lightweight package, and that's where you get so much more of this carbon fiber, so much more of these lovely materials, and of course with Lamborghini's ad personam program, you can spec it to how you want. Now this is yellow on the outside, yellow on the inside. Like every Lamborghini, this is loud, this is shouty, this is in your face, but this is actually very, very cool. These seats, now these are carbon seats which look gorgeous. Obviously, they're not as comfortable as the regular seats. In fact, now on the Temerario, you can also get comfort seats which are ventilated. So if you want to do long distances in your Lamborghini, you can do it in the Temerario with the comfort seats. You get a lovely physical controller. This is the Anima button, the drive mode selector. So from here, you go to City, to Strada, Sport, Corsa, and then you have Corsa with ESC off. But you don't need to do that, because now you get the drift mode. This is the drift mode button. So you long press this, then it gives you a warning, and then you can adjust the different levels of the drift. This is the EV mode. So you punch this and you go into the pure EV mode. You can also adjust the different modes. So you can get recharge, the hybrid mode, or the full performance mode. The full performance mode, obviously you get it only in the Sport and the Corsa mode. So you get the full performance mode out here, and this is your all important nose lift button. You also have your wipers on the steering, you have your indicators on the steering. This is for your ADAS, so you got lane keep assist, you can change the views out here. This is your dipper, and you can long press this and say hey Siri and what's up. You obviously have digital screens. So 12.3 inch screen for the driver, the cockpit, you get an 8.4 inch screen for the infotainment, and a slim 9.1 inch screen for the passenger. And Lamborghini says that their intention is not to put television screens inside this super sport car. You obviously have to have all the connectivity. You also have to have space. So there are deployable cup holders. And these cup holders, now I will show you a close-up of this. This is the same cup holder as my Porsche 997.2. My 15-year-old car has the same cup holders. I don't believe it, but I know my car. This is the same cup holder, and it does not take big size coffee mugs. I know, because all my coffee mugs don't fit in my Porsche. It's the same over here. You learn something new every day. But that's the cup holder over there. You have space for your phone. In the past, there wasn't even space for a credit card, but now there is space here. You have all these cool fighter jet inspired switch gear. There are physical switch gears, but of course the aircon and everything is on the screen. And this now incorporates telemetry. There are cameras inside as well as outside. The central transmission tunnel, that has a 3.8 kilowatt hour battery pack. It is a plug-in hybrid. It can accept charge at 7 kilowatts, and it takes around 30 minutes to fully juice up on a regular AC wall box charger. Or you can set it into the recharge mode, and you can use the combustion engine to refill the batteries. You know, at the Temerario showcase in India, they made a big song and dance of the fact that you can put 2 cabin-sized trolley bags in the front of the Temerario. And it didn't strike me as to why they're making so much song and dance about the boot space when, of course, the highlight is the engine. And now I realize its main rival, which is across the road from where they are in Italy, that does not have that much space. And Lamborghini says that this has been done to be more usable. So you have front space. So 2 sessions done at the track, and now to tell us about how everything on the Temerario works, the engine, the hybrid system, the electrified front axle, that whole fun to drive character, we have Chief Technical Officer Ruben Moore.
Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure.
Lovely as always. Yeah. So how does it all work? How does it all come together?
I think at the end of the day, in the background of the car, a lot of things are going on, you know. I hope that you perceive only one thing, that the car is consistent in its behavior, that the car provides accessible performance and also a lot of fun. But I will tell you a little bit, let me say, what are the main ingredients to make this happen. First of all, a central role for sure plays the electric front axle with the torque vectoring functionalities, because we have 2 electric motors. But this is the ingredient, like you want to do a tomato salad, you know, you need tomatoes.
Yes.
But the spice and how the taste is then at the end of the salad, these are the spices you need. And this is, I call it always, the electronic brain of the car. So we call it LDVI, so this kind of algorithm that is managing all the things that are going in the car. Brake interventions, torque vectoring, torque management, all these nice things.
And you don't notice it because, okay, at times through the tighter corners, when you go full gas, you can feel the rear coming out. But otherwise, you don't notice all these systems actually slowing you down. And what I really realized is that in the past, Lamborghinis, when you were driving it at 1010s, they would scare the shit out of you. But here, you can actually use the performance. You're not like, oh my God, I'm going to die at the next corner. And you're also smiling at the end of it. Of course, in the past also you were smiling, but also there was a little fear mixed in that smiles. But here it's actually really enjoyable. That fun to drive character comes through. So how does that happen?
I mean, at the end, it's a good compliment that you give this to us, because this is also a little bit a change of the paradigm, because we have, in the meantime, the philosophy, the performance of the cars today is getting so amazingly high that you have only 2 options. Either you still stay on the scary side, but then, to be honest, the additional performance no one can use at the end, except of perhaps a few pro drivers. And you are always happy if you survived. This is not the philosophy. Or you go in another direction, you say, okay, I try the best to support the driver without giving him permanently the feeling you did something wrong, without this kind of interventing behavior. And the key for this, and this is our way to do it, because we strongly believe then the customer can also really enjoy the car and really has even a bigger smile. And the main game changer of this is how the algorithm is working. In the past, the majority was a kind of feedback controlling, means the car was doing something, and then there was intervention. This is for sure very interruptive. You feel that something is not going in the proper way. In the today's control strategy, you have a so-called feed-forward. Means the car makes a prediction, and you need only small corrections. And in the best case, and I hope that this is the case, if you do the job well, as a driver, you perceive nothing out of this.
So you have to be smooth also, you can't be too aggressive?
You can do also aggressive. I mean, this you can do. I mean, the algorithm is smart enough to understand your driving style. And for instance, if you in this car, if you go in the sharp corners, if you go with a big gradient on the throttle, the algorithm understands, oh, this person wants to have fun, wants to drift, wants to have a power slide. And then the torque vectoring is even supporting you that the car is rotating, but not over-rotating, you know. In the past, this kind of things would be possible only with intervention of the stability control. And we want to manage the area before the stability control has to
So in effect, the electronics are actually making an average driver look really good?
Absolutely, absolutely, to be honest. And this is the target. I can even tell you, during the development, we are measuring lap times, but we are not measuring with our pro drivers. We are also measuring with different levels of skilled drivers. And if the difference between the best one and the medium skilled one is too big, this is a clear indication that your setup of the car is too sharp or is too, let me say, too in the mono direction. And on this we take care a lot in the last years to allow also standard customers to have with 920 power output. This is really incredible. 10 years ago it would be a hypercar, you know, or 15 years ago. Therefore, the accessibility of the performance, this is the key from our point of view.
And the engine, finally. What I noticed was you don't really have to rev it to 10,000 RPM, especially around the S's. If you're in a higher gear, there's no problem. You can still keep pace with the lead car. But then on the straight, the first time we went bang on it and goes up to 10, it's like, whoa. And also that the way it pulls from 7 all the way to 10, what have you done there?
I mean, to be honest, this is also exactly what you described now. This was exactly the design philosophy of the engine. Because the people ask, why these 10,000? The 10,000 is only a symbol, from my point of view, for the characteristic of the engine. And we wanted to combine the linearity of the natural aspirated one with the high torque level of the turbocharged. So, like you said, at the end, you can also short shift. You can drive the car in a high gear. In the Huracan, for instance, if you want to be fast on the track, you have to be very careful on the shifting points, because otherwise you fall in a ref region with too less torque. In this car, it's not so a problem, but we have the linearity and the progression at the top end. And to achieve this, so that you have the feeling, yeah, it's fun, it's still accelerating. It's not, oh, I rev it and then nothing happens. You have the feeling there is an endless acceleration. And to achieve this, technically wise, what you have to do is, you have to manage the boost at high revs. So you need a lot of air. Therefore, the turbochargers are also big like this. And then you can manage it only the low rev part with the electric motor. And the electric motor is on the crank. So therefore, I'm saying the electrification in this case is the enabler for the revving behavior. Otherwise, it would not make sense to rev as high, because the power curve would be dropping too early.
And you don't get any turbo lag, there's no sensation of driving a turbo engine.
Yeah, because we manage everything, the transient behavior we manage in 90% of the cases only with the electric motor.
Amazing. We got one more session on the track. Yeah. I'm not going to take too much of your time. Actually, I want to go on the track. So thank you very much, Ruben. Thank you.
Thank you.
Third and final session at the Estoril racetrack with the Temerario. I should now be kind of up to speed with the track layout. This is a new twin clutch automatic gearbox with faster times, obviously smoother as well. Bangs in the shift so hard. Now we can't tell you really much about how it rides on the road, but going by the way it goes over the curbs, this definitely has better compliance than the Huracan. Load it up, and now we're going to head out onto the main straight. I don't know if that was 300. Chicken! I in fact forgot to tell you about the figures. So 0 to 100, 2.7 seconds. 0 to 200, 7.1 seconds. Top speed 343 kilometers per hour. Lap times, well, I haven't even asked about lap times, but honestly, lap times will be much faster than the Huracan. No two ways about it. But this is not so much about the lap times as it is about the fun to drive nature of the Temerario. And in that sense, this is just so involving. It's supposed to be fun. And that it is. It doesn't feel like it's about to murder you. In that sense, that old school Lambo charm is not there. People love that, but come on, I don't know. Here, you know exactly what's going on. You feel safe, it's predictable, and it's also an immense amount of fun. And we're like really leaning on it, even through these noise cancelling headphones in the helmet. I can hear the tires howling, and now on the gas. 10,000 RPM, baby! Late apex. Now concentrate. Flat through that chicane. We are obviously braking with a lot of safety net. This is a super sport car, 903 bhp, you got to treat it with respect. Even though it is chuckable, even though it is fun to drive, you got to treat it with respect. Through the S's, that direction change, get on the gas, feel the rear squirming a bit, 7,000 RPM, step on it. So now that we are on the cool down lap, I've got it in the Strada mode, and now it is recharging the battery, and you can actually see the battery level going up. And they say depending upon the mode, it takes between 6 to 8 minutes to fully juice up the battery. And of course, it is a plug-in hybrid, so you can plug in the cable and you get, I think, full charge in 30 minutes or something on a normal AC wall box. But you can see that the charge is actually gone up. The Temerario, it's got tons more power than the Huracan Evo, tons more agility, tons more fun to drive, and it'll cost you tons more. Priced at the starting price of 6 crores in India. To give you a frame of reference, the Huracan Evo was 3.5 crores. So the price has nearly doubled. Of course, that's also taking into account the exchange rate fluctuations and all of that. But fact of the matter is, if you're in the market for Huracan and you can only stretch to a Huracan Evo, this is out of bounds. But Lamborghini are at pains to point out that in terms of the value that you get with the Temerario, in terms of the engine performance, in terms of the agility, in terms of the features, in terms of the size also, well, you are getting great value for money. What do you think? Will you pick this over the epic 5.2 V10 on the Huracan Evo? Let us know in the comments, and if you've enjoyed this video, do give us a shout out, share this video with like-minded enthusiasts, give us a thumbs up, and of course stay subscribed to the Evo India channel and hit that bell icon to stay notified for all our video drops.